Okay, so hi everyone. This is Alex Axe, also known as Alex Wells, and I decided I was going to try out this vlog thing mostly because Matt Wallace is doing it and it looks like fun. So if there is anything at all that you don't like about this vlog, keep in mind that it's entirely Matt Wallace's fault, and I mean anything, like including the fact that I'm wearing an extremely stupid yellow safety vest because I'm at work, or that my hair looks like a mess because it's been under a hard hat all day. Those are all Matt's fault. But I was actually thinking, like, I used to blog a lot, like back in the live journal days. Like, I had kind of an online diary thing, and also if the video is a little shaky, that's also Matt's fault, but it's also because I'm having to hold it because, you know, sitting in a pickup truck is really not, like, the best video shooting environment. Anyway, so I used to blog a lot during the live journal days, and we'll get the frame a little bigger, and I don't even really know why I stopped, because at that point it was kind of like, you know, my diary, like, this is the thing that I, you know, here's my daily shit that I do, and it's not like I think my life was a lot more interesting back then. Not that I'm saying my life is terribly interesting now, because I'm in adult hell and I just basically, like, work and then work and then work some more, and, you know, occasionally get in arguments with my cats. But I do think there's value in trying to kind of organize your thoughts and be like, this is what's going on with me, and try to come up with something to talk about every day. And it might just be that I'm going to try this out because I think vlog might actually be a better format than a written diary at this point, because at the moment, if I'm writing anything, it's going to be like writing about a movie or putting words onto the rough draft that is making me want to kill myself. Not literally, only figuratively, because it's just the second act, and the second act is always a giant pit. So let's give this a try, and if I manage to make it a daily thing, that'll be cool. And if I don't manage to make it a daily thing, since currently I'm blaming everything on Matt Wallace, that will also be his fault. Hey Matt, everything is your fault. Aren't you lucky? Except the Tolkien fans being shits. That's actually not your fault. So I actually have like some kind of like shitty stuff to talk about, but I don't want to make my first vlog a shitty, you know, complainy whatever thing. So instead I'm going to talk about a thing that made me super happy this weekend, and that's the fact that I saw Thor Ragnarok twice. And I know my delightful housemate Ivona, who is Swedish, is just wincing every fucking time one of us says Ragnarok, because I think it's like Ragnarok, something like that. You're supposed to like roll your R's. It's like really complicated if you don't roll your R's in normal conversation. But I saw the movie on Friday night at the Alamo Draft House with my housemates and Elise and Lindsay from Shimmer, because they're awesome. And the movie was so much fun. We just stood around after it talking for 45 minutes about how freaking fun this movie is. And then, so of course, since, you know, I'm like a slave to the Thor franchise, and it's still, I think, the movie I've seen the most in theaters in my life is still Thor 1, but we're going to see if I can surpass that with Thor Ragnarok. I had to go see it again on Sunday at my earliest opportunity, and it's still just as funny, which is amazing. You know, because a lot of times you see the movie the first time and you're like super excited because everything is really cool and there's explosions and Tom Hiddleston having like disgusting greasy black hair and it's great. And then you see it the second time and you're like, you know, it's okay. But this was like, it was freaking hilarious the first time. It was just as funny the second time. I can't wait to see it a third time. And I mean, I don't want to spoil it for you, because if you are not completely dead on superhero movies, you should go see it. Even if you are kind of dead on superhero movies, I think you should still go see it, because this movie is just great. And it's kind of like, you know how Marvel's been sort of like doing different genres, like, you know, I almost said Captain America World Police, which is a crossover I think we all need to see now. The Winter Soldier. Like that was their like take on kind of like the spy thriller genre. and like, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy was sort of like wacky space opera, and, you know, the original Thor 1 was actually kind of like their take on sort of Shakespearean tragedy, thank you Kenneth Branagh. But like, so if Marvel has done a comedy, this is it. And, you know, it's, if nothing else, they gave it to the best guy ever to do it, because Taika Waititi is amazing. And if you haven't seen what We Do in the Shadows, you should totally see that. And despite the fact that it's a vampire movie, and take it from me, I fucking hate vampires, and I love that movie. Oh, and we're about to get like a real like background noise, and that's because there is a dually scraper wandering around and just driving in circles past me. Hi everyone. I'm shooting this at work, if you can't tell. So anyway, it's like just relentlessly funny. Like, in the best way. I mean, there's physical humor, and there's a bunch of, like, kind of ironic, deflationary humor, where it's like, you know, Thor is being like, I'm a super badass, and I'm making a speech, and then a thing kind of, like, happens that sort of takes him a little peg down, but then he jumps right back in, and he's like, 'cause I'm a hero, and that's how I do things, and, I mean, you can tell, like, everyone in this movie was having a hell of a good time, especially Cate Blanchett, because, oh my god. But there's just so much to love in it. And it still manages to have some really, really thoughtful and kind of like, if you take I don't know how many people are going to be doing this with this movie, just because it is really funny, but you kind of take a step back and you think about what they did in certain places, and you're like, oh shit, like, you know, I think that I'm going to be vague enough here that hopefully this doesn't count as a spoiler, because some people count things as spoilers that I don't even freaking understand, and I'm sorry, because I've never had problems with spoilers. But like, the entire conflict of this movie is basically fueled by there being this imperialist past that has been sort of like papered over, and because the history has been lost, like, you know, no one is prepared for what's going to happen. And, I mean, that's like, woo, I mean, Taika Waititi went there. And there's just a lot of stuff in that, you know, superficially, it's just like a really fun movie. And then you look below it, and there's just like, you know, some really like messed up shit that he's commenting on. Like, I mean, one of the greatest lines in the movie is, because Jeff Goldblum is so Jeff Goldblum in this movie, it's just like Jeff Goldblum-tastic. He's talking with, I think her name is Topaz, like his assistant lady, who is also super cool. And she's like, oh, the slaves are revolting, and da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, oh, no, I don't like that word. And she'd also said the word mainframe. And she's like, mainframe? You know, what's wrong with that? And he's like, no, mainframe's a fine word. No, I mean, like, the S word. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, the prisoners with jobs. And it's like, oh, like, just a little point, you know, because humor can be extremely pointed. And of course, you know, I'm also addressing this from my viewpoint as, like, you know, like a white working class, middle class, whatever, American. And I'm sure that there is a lot of other undercurrents, if you're from the same background as the director, that's also super cool. So anyway, yeah, the movie was great. And then, of course, because I'm a giant Loki fangirl, I have to take like a moment to comment on the fact that I'm not going to get specific because I said I wasn't going to do spoilers, but I just want you to know that as a Loki fangirl, I am so fucking happy with this movie. I'm so happy. Like, they finally gave Loki to a director that actually understands the character, which is basically when something goes wrong, first you blame Loki, and then if it isn't actually his fault, then you get Loki to help you fix it. Like, I mean, finally, like, I'm hoping that if Loki is going to be in any more of the movies, because I think he's going to be in Infinity War, don't quote me, I don't remember, I don't know how many more films Tom Hiddleston is signed for, but, like, I really hope that whoever gets that character next does not fuck him up the way he was just, like, I mean, I'm like contractually obligated to still love The Dark World, and there were some things in it that were really good, but, and then, I mean, you know, the first Avengers movie I also really love. I really fucking hate what Joss Whedon did with Loki, and that's like a whole other rant for another time, but I'm happy things. And what they did with the character in this movie is so great. So if you are like a little Loki fan like me, this movie is probably guaranteed to make you just absolutely over the moon, because there's like character development, and I love it. So yay, Thor Ragnarok. It's amazing, and if there's an Alamo Drafthouse in your area, go see it there, because the Alamo Drafthouse is the best. Otherwise, just, whatever theater you like best. And, hopefully you like it as much as I did, because it brought me a lot of joy, and I'm going to be buying a lot more tickets for Thor Ragnarok, because happy things. So wow, I've been like going on for about 10 minutes, so I'm gonna call this my first vlog. Hey, I did it! I'm going to make myself upload this, even though my hair looks like, oh, good lord. I've been wearing a hat a lot. That's my excuse. And it's Matt Wallace's fault anyway. Hi, Matt. If you watch this, if you don't, I don't blame you, but love you, man!